Hello, and welcome back to the Whole Journey podcast. We're still in season 2, and a good surprise that we have for you all to continue out this season is that we're planning to start bringing in some guests. So today we are here with our first guest. We have Miss Denesha Evans, and we'll let her do her own intro, but today we're going to be talking about careers and like your purpose and things career oriented. And so, Denesha, do you want to give us a quick intro and tell the people who you are?
Well, first I want to say I'm honored to be the first guest.
Yay.
Okay, so I am Denesha Evans. I am a globally certified college and career coach. And so that's what I do. Basically, I spend time helping people find their path, their lanes, whatever career they want to get into. And for high school students, whatever college they want to get into. I've been in it for 3 years, and I'm loving every minute of it.
Yeah, I think you do really well with it. I had the opportunity to come to one of the career fairs. Was it like Working Wednesday or something?
Yep.
And just seeing the relationship that you have with the students and how much they respect you, and I'm sure respect your expertise. I think is really good because this generation,
It's a little different for sure.
It is. And so I guess we can just jump right on in with the questions.
Okay.
I will go first, and this is something that I feel like I have been kind of experiencing personally because I tried to do the dash on my most recent career, which we'll talk about that more in a later episode, but I just felt like it wasn't purposeful, like with the work that I was doing wasn't purposeful anymore. And so I'll just kind of ask, what role does faith play in understanding or clarifying your career purpose and overcoming systemic barriers?
That's good. I think a lot of times we have to, first of all, lean into the Holy Spirit. And I know for me personally, that's not something I always want to do. It's like, I'm good at this thing. It's an opportunity here. Let's do it and see what happens.
I see the money.
And the money. And so you really have to go back to, what do you value? So if you say faith is something you value, you have to consider a few things. First of all, if I know I need to be in a communal setting, do I need to choose a career that's going to have me working weekends where I can't get with my people or my groups, right? If you know that you value having time where you can actually spend time in the Word, highlighting things, do you need a career that's going to have you working while you're at work at your 9 to 5 and then doing work when you're at home? Like, there are simple things that you can really think about to see, is this a career path that I need to take? And sometimes we want it to be really deep, like, God, give me a sign, show me something. It's not that deep. He already equipped you with what you need to know those values, to know the things you need to do, so that you don't choose a career that interrupts that. Because then the next thing that happens is you go into that career because you like that money, you like that job title, you like the fact that you're about to raise up, you get a new title behind your name, and then you lay everything else down. So are you compromising what you say is important to you, your faith, for some dollar signs? Because ultimately, you're going to have to give it away anyway when God says, hey, this is getting in the way of our relationship. What are you going to do?
Coming in hot, Denesha.
Listen, I preach to the choir. You hear me?
Yeah.
I preach to the choir, but that's the truth.
Yeah.
It is. And oftentimes we are like, God, give me a sign. If this is the job for me, then do this. And if it's not the job for me, then do that. And it's like you said, he done already equipped you with everything that you need to make that decision. We tend to make it more complicated than it needs to be because we do battle a lot with that, what we want and what God says. And so we make things a lot more complicated than they need to be.
Absolutely.
Ooh,
yeah. That was good. And I think that's kind of like one of the things I allowed, situations and people to make me feel like the work I was doing was not purposeful. But it is, and finding kind of like you said, being able to, I kind of shifted my focus this year. So prioritizing the spending time with God and spiritual things. And so now it is starting to, and it hasn't all the way, but it is starting to reframe the work I do in my career. So
I think another piece of that is asking too, how does this glorify God? And that's something that I just recently said I'm going to start considering, because I think we can mold things to say, oh, well, this can bring God glory, because when I make money, I can start giving to the church, right? But in your day-to-day actions, how does this position or what you're doing glorify God?
Yeah.
Because that's the ultimate purpose, to bring him glory. So what are you doing that's going to bring something in? That's where the purpose part comes in.
Yeah.
You have to reframe it. Does this glorify God? In what ways does it glorify God?
Yeah.
And if it doesn't, you know it's not for you.
right.
That's good.
That is.
But
I'm
I also
struggling.
think you we have to realize, like, we have seasons of things too.
Yeah.
That's true.
And we don't want the season to go out and we no longer have a grace for a space.
Yes.
So being able to discern that you've done your work here and maybe it's time to transition can sometimes be a struggle as well. Like when the company, when their values no longer align with yours.
Yeah. Yeah.
But then it's hard to leave because you're familiar, you're comfortable,
Yes.
and it's
Yeah.
scary to step out into something
Yes.
else.
It
is,
But sometimes
it
you
is.
have to do it scared.
Yes. All the time for me.
A lot of times,
I'm always scared.
I think I'm struggling right now with where I'm at
Yeah.
because of the values and the people that I work with. A lot of them we don't align, I should say. We don't align. And so I am struggling right now with God. Okay, what is my purpose here? Why am I here?
Yeah.
And I know that everything happens for a reason. And so am I here to get as much as I can and then maybe go on to the next thing? But like what you said was just like finding like the God in it and like what does God want me to get from here?
Yeah.
Or what is he using me to do while I am here, while I'm in
Yeah.
this season
Yeah,
of where I don't feel purposeful,
Yeah.
but not losing sight of, okay, while you're here, you may be, because, you know, we talk about feelings all the time.
Oh, yeah.
And, you know, your feelings are not facts and all of that. But it's like, okay, I'm feeling like this, but I need to put my feelings to the side
Yes.
Yeah.
and realize why God put me here.
Yeah.
Right.
That's
Yeah.
good, because a really tough shower lesson I learned over the last couple of weeks is, you know, I was going through some things in my career and I was kind of getting bogged down and I feel like my spirit was a little beat up and I was blaming it on the people, like on my peers or the employees or the clients and God had to shut my mouth, kind of like how you talked about in the last episode, and tell me like, no, I was trying to reveal something about you to you. Like, you're not responsible like for how the people treat you. You're responsible for how you react. And so I was ready to abort the mission because I'm like, I'm so tired of dealing with mean people. You know, that was my thing. And it's like, God was trying to teach me how to better handle adversity, how to better handle what I deem as fails, and not to even to reframe my mind to stop seeing everything as a win or a fail.
Yeah.
And so that's something that was helpful too. Like, even though I wasn't happy or I felt like I wasn't happy, God was allowing it to happen to teach me more about me and to work out something in me that I needed to work on. So, yeah.
I think too about the part when we go into these organizations, they may not be faith-based.
Yeah,
and so a part of what we learn as Christians is that we're foreigners. And sometimes our role there is to shift the culture. Like we're coming across barriers. We know we're coming across like systemic barriers where this is the way that they've always done things. And they might not be so open to what you're bringing to the table. But your mission is still shift the culture. Like everywhere we go, your experience with them should be transformational. Like, they should be getting ounces of God in there, and you don't have to like be deliberate with it.
It's the principles.
It
the
is
kingdom principles that you're bringing.
that they see in you. Like, dang, when I work with this person, it's just a different feel. And
that's it. That was it. Like, it was that exact thing that God showed me. Like, people, because I'm telling you, I feel like I deal with some of like the most irrational people sometimes. Like, what? Like, that's why you're mad? That's why you're upset? But God showed me, like, you're going to teach them something that they're going to be able to see, like, I was so rude to that girl. I was so demeaning to her. I was so condescending to her. And look how she responded to me. Like, that's the light of God that he wants people to see. And so I've reframed that, you know, especially since I'm now in a place. And when I say now, I mean like as of 2 days ago, in a place where, because I tried something, like, I'm out. I'm just going to find something else to do. And was applying for jobs that I know I was overly qualified for, like willing to take a pay cut from what I know I could be paid, just to run away. And when I tell you the doors were closing, and I like, in a way, I'm like, okay, well, I'm just try one more.
Okay, Jonah.
I was thinking
and
that.
the doors
I was thinking that exactly.
And literally the last one that I applied for, so I applied for the same position within the same company. Like, they were like, okay, well, you didn't work out here, but we think you'll be a really good fit in this role. So I'm like, okay. And it really wasn't what I wanted to do, but I'm like, okay, you know, it's working for the it's for the organization.
Essentially.
And I'm interviewing with the lady, and I'm asking, like, one of my questions was like, how soon, you know, are y'all needing to fill the position? And she's like, oh, I need somebody like yesterday. Like, this position needs to be filled. Like, I need someone. And then she emailed me like 2 days ago and was like, we decided to dissolve the position. Pretty much they're dissolving the position. I'm like, I thought you just said you needed somebody bad. And it was like, it ain't about them. It was God closing the door. Like, Breonna, that's not what I mean for you to do. I mean for you to stay your tail there and tough it out, you know. And so I'm at a place now where it's like, if I have to be here, God, grace me and show me how to let people see you through me. And so
I'm gonna have to starting my mornings off, like, before I go into the office. Like, let me glorify you today.
It's my prayer before every session. God, I do not know what to do for this person, but I know that you do. And something, you know, if you got to get there, well, for me, I was having to get there before the client so I can have time in this space to consecrate it. Because we're dealing with some very sensitive stuff here.
And heavy stuff.
Yeah, and I can't pretend to be the expert on human behavior. I'm not.
But to them, you are.
Yeah, but I have to surrender.
You have such a transformative job. Like, I'm thinking about how much I personally rely on my therapist. And
but I'm telling you,
actual therapist in you.
I would not. I promise, I would not have the success. I would not have the rapport. I would not have clients sending their friend and their other friend. Like, I wouldn't be so booked if I didn't surrender that to God. Like, okay, God, help me. What intervention? You know, because.
You can't do it in your own strength.
No,
because we as people can frame therapists like as God Jr. Like, oh, I'm in a crisis. Let me. And like when you told me some of your clients, I'm like, I have never texted my therapist like, hey, this is what's going on. But I got to the place where I was like making notes. Like, I need to talk to my therapist about this. Like, I need to talk. So I can only imagine, you know, like being in such a role like that where you are influencing people and they rely so heavily on you.
But you said something good about consecrating spaces. I think I had one of the best moments at work when I made it a point to come in. I had this like 5-minute devotional or something. And it wasn't even about the workplace. It was just a devotional. but I was intentional about getting to work early so I can read that devotional. And my mind was already in a space that whatever comes, I'm going back to this devotional
Yeah.
and I'm going to apply it with every person that I interact with. So,
Yeah.
or just walking into a space and you praying, you could be touching stuff. They don't know what you're doing.
Yeah.
But you're speaking over all the things that will be in contact with you that day so that they flow the way they need to be.
Yeah, that's good.
That is good. That's real good. So I guess I'll kind of, because we're still on this, so I'll kind of follow with that. So how do you, how do you pursue career goals without compromising your spiritual health or your values? But I feel like we kind of touched on that a little bit, but we can kind of dive deeper into like, how do you pursue those goals? But I guess it's just following God and wherever he leads you and not making it such a, God, show me a sign.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's kind of what you said. And I feel like that's where I had been feeling. I had been compromising. Like when, I'm dealing with these rude people, rude men or whatever, I was, okay, you being rude, I'm finna get right. It's right back with
Matching
you.
that energy.
Yeah. I was, and that was me compromising. That was me compromising my peace. That was me compromising relying on Holy Spirit as a helper. I was compromising so much, and that's why I was so bogged down because it was heavy. Like I was tired of being somebody that I did not want to be. Like
Then I wonder too, you have to ask yourself, am I operating in faith or am I operating in fear? Am I afraid that they don't see me the way I want to be seen? Am I afraid that what I'm communicating is not coming across right? Like most of the time we are operating in fear, which is why we are so emotional, why we get so angry, why we feel like I have to defend myself or don't come for me.
Yeah.
So you're not really in faith.
yeah.
You know what helps me with that? And it comes up in my spirit a whole lot when I'm trying to control the narrative by making sure people see and experience me a certain way. It's like Jesus made of himself no reputation.
Yeah.
So why am I defending mine to the T?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's
good.
kind of the resolve I'm at, where it's like, hey, I can't I won't, we talk about like how everybody isn't your customer type thing. Being okay with knowing like I'm not for everybody. But the people that I do have the honor to service, I'm going to give them an experience that they will never forget.
Yeah.
And that's all I can control. I can't control those that their mind is made up before, or I can't control that. All I can control is myself, honestly. And so that's, I feel like, what helped me to stop compromising. So
I think in your position too, realizing that you are paving the way for other people to come behind you.
yeah,
So you can't tarnish your reputation and what you have going because that other person that's waiting at the door may never get in it.
yeah,
Yeah. I always say when my husband and I talk, I'm like, we're trailblazing.
yeah.
So when
Yeah.
you're trailblazing, you get hit by things because you didn't even know they were there. In my mental picture of it is like a person like going through the forest on a horse, and the branches are hitting you in the face because no one has paved this way before.
Yep.
So you're hitting obstacles that maybe the next person won't hit. But if you can, move through it gracefully, yes, it hurts. God sees, God hears, God knows.
Yeah.
But if we can move through those times of perseverance gracefully,
Yeah.
then we'll see our work maybe even in the next generation.
Yeah.
Our legacy lives on by the ease that somebody else can have
That's
because you did the fighting.
Yeah.
But the fighting isn't a physical fight.
Yeah.
Right.
I got so convicted though, because the type of jobs that I was interviewing for, like one of them was like an operations manager, and one of them was like kind of like a developmental role where it's like you're out like acquiring new business, so it requires like a lot of networking and a lot of relationship building. And I got so convicted a couple of days ago. Well, no, yesterday. I got so convicted because I heard guys say like, you out here selling yourself for how you can help this person operationally run their organization. You out here selling yourself for how you can help develop this organization. Do the same exact thing for yourself. And I was like, like, you know, it was easier to sell myself when I was and be confident when I was trying to get the job. But then in my own space, it's like I sink down. You know, it's like, I'm not capable. I'm not. And it's like, obviously you capable because you just sold yourself in these interviews, you know? And so that was the other thing that, like.
So you building somebody else's dream while watching yours crumble.
Denesha.
Wow.
She on one.
Wow.
Yeah. That's real. Yeah.
I think, like, for me as well, you and I are both in male dominant fields with men who don't look like us. And so I remember I was going to my grandma and I was just like, Granny, like, I'm the only woman. I'm the only Black woman. And she was like, so you breaking ground. And that shifted my perspective because I'm in, like, woe is me.
Wisdom.
Like, why me?
And
I'm
you helped me.
Yeah.
You when you told me, you said something Thursday, you didn't even realize you were talking about the training, the meeting that you had when you had to do the presentation.
Oh, yeah.
And then the meeting you had that night, the dinner, and how you and I'm like, I thought I had it bad. Like, that helped me to see, like, okay, girl, you just stop crying because you're not the only one.
Yeah.
You know, so, yeah.
Like what you said, Keita, we are trailblazing. It's stuff hitting us.
Yeah.
But, like, I am the first one in this office. And
Yeah.
so who's to say I'm not opening the door for someone else to come in behind me? And I'm breaking that stereotype of where they think that we're all like this and we operate like this. And I was telling Bree, I had to do a presentation. And when I got done, everybody was like, you did so good. You did so good. I'm like, was I not supposed to?
Yeah.
Like, it had me thinking, like, what did y'all think I was going to get up there and do? Because I'm made for this. Like, this is what we do when we're highly capable of exceeding.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So I felt like they probably had, like, low expectations of what I was going to do when I got up there. But like you said, we just opening that door and they're seeing, like, okay, they not all what we see on TV.
Yeah.
That's right.
That was the other thing. Like, I decided, because I used to shrink, like, you know, being in a male dominant field is like, oh, well, I got to look a mess pretty much. Like, I need to get my nails short and da-da-da. I need to make sure I'm in work boots and I'm in, so that they'll respect me. But when I tell you, I'm like, no. Like, at the end of the day, I'm going to stay true to who I am. If I want to color my hair, if I want to wear makeup, if I want to show up at a project site in stilettos, that's my business.
Egypt. Egypt, you can do it.
Yeah, that's what I want to do. And so that's why I went ahead and I'm planning to just rebrand, because the things that we faced over the last year helped us to realize some things that we needed to change. But that's also including a rebranding, because I want to show up as me. Like, this is me. Like, it's not this, my latest, my pictures that I had been using, my headshots, I didn't even have my locks. So I'm like, no, I need new pictures so that they can see this is who you're going to meet. Like, this is, and I had even started shrinking, like, well, stop putting me on so much of I was telling the people who were doing my PR stuff, don't put me on everything. I don't want them to see. No, I'm not doing it no more. Like, this, you can either be surprised or you can know ahead of time, but this is who's going to show up when you call for the contractor to come. This is what she's going to look like. So you might as well already be prepared. So that's just staying true to who you are is something that I've
that saying, when you look good, you feel good.
Absolutely.
A lot of times we think physically, but that's mentally, that's your confidence, that's everything that you're capable of doing, showing up when you walk in the room because you feel good.
Yes, absolutely. It builds confidence. That's good.
Okay, so I guess I'll take the next one. What specific fears or doubts do African American women, since we're all African American up here, often face when stepping into new opportunities, and how can faith help overcome them?
It's so funny. Our questions they building
Yeah.
and overlapping.
You really just answered that one. But I think a lot of times too, I lost my train of thought. But I think a lot of times too, we already have those stereotypes in our mind because we've been told you got to work twice as hard, you got to be twice as better. So you go in with things that people may not even be projecting on you. But there are some very real things that are out there. Are you going to be aggressive? Are you going to be ghetto? Will you be knowledgeable? Do you meet the expectations of corporate America and what they say you should be? All of those are very real things. But like you said, you have to be confident in who you are, confident in who God made you to be. That's the first step, because if I walk in with confidence, everything else I can handle because I'm authentically myself when I come into that room.
Yes.
And so you get what you get. And because, of course, I know all of you, I know that you're already walking in, you're polished, you know your stuff, you're on top of it because you are prepared. And most people are. It's very few people that walk into a room and like, okay, let's see what we get into when we get in here, right? But those are some of the stereotypes that people have. So I think remembering who you are, who God made you to be, and showing up and presenting your best self.
Yeah. And it's hard to be what I think, and I literally, this just dropped in me. It was hard for me to be confident in an artificial version of myself. Like, you can't be confident in something you're not.
Yep.
You know, that's like telling somebody who doesn't know how to swim, we're gonna do a triathlon, and I need you to do 20 meters across the pool, and it's like you can't. There's no way you can be confident because you don't even know how to swim. And so I was trying to show up and be who I felt like they would receive, or who they would respect, and it was hard to do that confidently because it wasn't me. And so I think you have to just be who you are.
I think that goes into, there's a post that says, I'm not going to, basically like, I'm not going to break myself down so to make it easier for you to swallow, choke.
Yes.
So it's just like, I'm not going to, like you talked about earlier, like
dim your light.
Dimming your light, shrinking yourself so I don't come off like I'm arrogant. So I don't come off like I'm, too confident or too aggressive. Too smart. But it's like they do it all the time.
But how do you even sustain it? Let's say I go into a job and I'm pretending to be this person. At some point, you will not be able to keep it up.
Have to show up.
Yeah,
It
you're
will.
right. And it
Or
gets
you'll kill
exhausting.
yourself.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So
That's
you best
something that they used to always say. I heard it a lot when I was in my master's program with management and leadership from a human resource aspect. Like, the interview is the best version that you're going to get of that person. And so it's like, even with going into interviewing, you be your most polished self, but you present yourself as authentic, because if you don't, like you said, how you going to keep that up?
You can't.
You
I'm
know,
telling you.
that's reality. Like, you might as well just go ahead and, of course, be your best polished self, but let them see you for you, because if not, you go into an opportunity and then, the real you come out and they like, now who is
that?
That is not who I hired.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, but I think on the flip side, we can also have a lot of imposter syndrome.
Yeah,
of
yes,
course.
absolutely.
I feel like, I don't know if this is unique to me or not, but sometimes you go in spaces where you're not quite black enough, but you're definitely not white.
Yeah.
So it's hard to know like how to maneuver in spaces like that where you're not necessarily appreciated because maybe you don't speak the Ebonics, or maybe you because you
carry yourself a
speak
certain
edited
way
standard
and-
English, you're not quite palatable for the black audience, but because you look a certain way, you're not quite palatable for a white audience. So you kind of get stuck in this space of,
You don't know who to be.
Where do I fit?
Yeah.
Do I really belong here? And so those things, I think you definitely need faith to sustain.
You do.
Because you'll start second guessing you. So in that regard, being in professional spaces and corporate spaces when you might be the only black person in the room, which I know we've all been in that space where we've been the only black one, you do kind of have to represent a little bit, while also being an individual and showing them this is what we can bring to the table because of what I'm bringing to the table.
Yes.
But I'm also going to add something that's probably a little bit unconventional. It has also helped me to change my thought process about what you expect from your counterparts. You know, you because of, you know, things that you've experienced or history or, you know, family lineage, you expect a certain thing. But when I tell you that I have had some, I mean, it's not all, you know, you deal with certain people like that, but I have had some white men to show up and advocate for me. Like, that helps me because it helps to break down. Those are breaking down the real systemic barriers.
Yeah.
Like, I have had some that's like, hey, look, I see what you're trying to do. I believe in you, and how can we figure this out? We're in it to win it. And that has also helped me from just an overall standpoint to realize, like, that you can't just always buy into what culture or what society says. And so that's, you know, that's unconventional to say, but
I don't think so. I think that we all have those kind of positive experiences because I honestly see it as coming from I guess reframing it into curiosity.
Yes.
Because we are not in intimate spaces with people from different races as much as we should be.
Yes.
So sometimes this may be their first encounter or their only encounter with a person like you. So if we bought into what we've been taught, then we miss opportunities to really, you know, spread the truth about each other. So I get in rooms sometimes and I feel like this person probably don't want to hear anything I got to say. But I find that, if you just show up and be your authentic self, they're going to find something about you that they like. And you'll find something about them that they like if you're not closed-minded.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I think I really buy into the idea of being your authentic self because that's kind of been a large majority of my life. I went to a high school where I was the one black kid in rooms. I went to a college where I was the one black kid in rooms. And even in my professional life, there have been several times when I'm the one black person, not only the one black person, but the one with short, natural colored hair in the room. And it took me a while to even get to the point where I was like, I want to do this. This is how I want to show up. I don't care what space I'm going in. This is what you're going to get. And I found that I was received so much better than I ever have been just by showing up and being who I am. So I really, I'm not just saying that because it sounds good. I really believe in being your true, authentic self. And what is for you is going to come to you.
That's
right. It just is. And your tribe, whoever is for you, will come to you because you are who you were destined to be. You are who God created you to be. And just, I mean, even when imposter syndrome comes, that's when you had it. Okay, God, I know who you created me to be. I know what I bring to the table. They're either going to take it or leave it. But I'm okay because I know you sent me here. And I'm going to do what I came to do.
That's good.
I say amen.
Yes. I will go with another question. What advice would you give to someone who feels stuck in a job that doesn't fulfill them?
Okay. A few things. Number one, I feel like everyone needs to take an aptitude test.
Okay.
There are free ones online. Take an aptitude test.
Okay.
And I say that because
Can you give us some that we can like link in the comments for people, like a aptitude test for them to
I
take?
will. So I know one, I can't think of a free one off the top of my head, but one that is really, really good is called U Science. It's made by U Science. So I'll give it to you so you can link it. I say take an aptitude test because people's aptitude typically does not change over the course of their life. So from age 14 until adulthood, your aptitude will stay the same. So that's going to tell you what you are naturally skilled at, what you're naturally good at. And if you're doing a career where you're naturally good, you can excel, you're more likely to stay in it because you like it. It comes second nature to you. A lot of times we like to take interest inventories because guess what? It makes me feel good to see what I like. You already know what you like. And those are good. They have a place, but they don't tell you what will sustain you over time. So take an aptitude test. Now, when you take an aptitude test and you match it with your interest test, it gives you a more narrow set of careers that will fit you. So if you're going to make a change, make a good change, right? Something that you know you can stay in and stick with. So that's my biggest thing. Take an aptitude test, take an interest test, put them together and see what works for you. So I did the one on U Science. It was spot on for me.
Okay.
Spot on. It told me like, for instance, are you good at, or do you like more mechanical things? Do you like more creative avenues? Are you flexible? Do you like a more structured, rigid schedule? All of those things will come along with the skills. So you'll do a little bit of applied math, a little bit of writing, just different things.
Yeah.
That's your aptitude. Your interest changes from day to day.
Yeah.
I like working nights over here. Oh, but now I have a family. I have kids. I need to do something different,
Yeah.
right? All of those things are going to change, but aptitude will stay the same. So if you're afraid to leave, there's no job that will be as loyal to you as you are to it.
Yeah.
No job. Even if there are nice people there, they looked out for you, they had your best interest in mind, it is a job.
Yeah.
And if something happened where you had to leave, guess what? They're bringing somebody else
somebody
in.
else.
So are you going to spend 30 more years in misery somewhere where you know you are not happy, somewhere where you know you are not content, or are you going to bet on you and go do something different?
Yeah. Yeah. That's good.
At the end of the day, that's what it comes to.
It's a quote that I always reference. It's like one of my favorite quotes, and it's from my girl, my good sis Beyonce. And it's I don't like to gamble, but if it's one thing I'm willing to bet on, it's myself. And so that reframed my way of thinking this past week and just over the last couple of months, where I thought it was time for a career change. And I have never just really handled rejection well, and everything is quantified as either a win or a fail for me. Yeah. And so not getting these jobs, especially when like the interviews went so well, I'm talking about you've gone through 3 interviews and you just have to meet the CEO, and then it's like, well, no, we went a different route. It used to be a time where that would tear me to shreds. Like, well, what did I do wrong? Well, what didn't they like about me, or what didn't they see, you know? And so after it has happened a few times, now it's like, okay, it's you got to bet on yourself. Like, they may not have bet on you, but you got to bet on yourself and be willing to put the same thing into yourself or your business that you were willing to put into their organization.
And think about it this way, even from a financial standpoint, a lot of people want to stay in a job because it's a steady check, right?
Yeah.
But you may be getting paid steady money, but your health is failing. Your life is falling apart. So you have to think about, it's a balance of what is most important to you. Are you willing to go ahead and take a chance and move, or are you willing to let all of these other things crumble because you are not, you don't have a purpose. At this point, you're collecting a check.
Yeah.
And my biggest thing, I wonder if other people think about this when they're doing it, is everyone around you can sense that.
Yeah.
They can feel it. I think about being in a school where teachers have taught for 30 years. This is the only thing they've known. But you don't build relationships with kids anymore. You treat them all the same. You know what I'm saying? Everyone around you see it. The same thing in corporate America. You may have been doing these reports for 30 years, but are you doing them with excellence? You know what I'm saying? Are you doing it with excitement? Are you going above and beyond, or are you just getting by?
Yeah.
Just doing what you got to do to get the check.
Yeah. It starts to show. So you may as well do what's going to bring you the fulfillment that you need to continue throughout life.
Yeah, that's good.
And you're never too old to change.
Never.
You can go back to school. You can do a new career. You can take classes even while you do the job that you feel doesn't fulfill you. Go do something different.
Yeah, my mom
like
tells
I'm
me
there.
that all the time.
Yeah.
Because she was, as y'all know, she was a lot older when she's always been a nurse, but she's older now, what some people could deem like retirement age. And she's living out her.
She went back to school.
Yeah.
And when she had her 65th birthday party and her graduation party. That's the one big party.
And it works to your advantage because there are scholarships. You can go as a, I don't want to say senior citizen, but as an older person, you can go to school for free.
Yeah.
As a non-traditional student, there are programs specifically to get you back in school. A lot of universities have a fund set up just for people who may have started a few classes and didn't finish.
Yeah.
So seek those opportunities and do it. I mean, what's stopping you?
Yeah.
Do it.
I remember when I was at one point I wanted to go back to school, and I I think I was talking about going to. I was going to talk about going to law school because I've always wanted to be a lawyer. It was always something that since I was a little girl, and me and you were talking, and I was like, "That's 4 years," and you was like, 4 years still gonna pass. So in 4 years,
right.
you could either be a lawyer or you're just gonna be. I don't remember. I think I was like, you're gonna be 32. Like the 4 years are still gonna pass, and like now that I'm where I am right now, I have been feeling like I do want to go back to school and get my master's. But it's just like in what? And so I'm at that stage. It's like, what do I really want to do? Like, and a lot of times, like society, with my position, with my role, a lot of people think oh, that's such a great position. Like, how do you get in that role? Like, you need to stay there. That's where all the money is. But then I also kind of be like, I don't really like what I do sometimes.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, yes, it's good money. Yes, I'm good at it. But do I truly enjoy it, and do I feel fulfilled in it?
But why do you have to close or let the dream of going to law school die? You don't have to. You could stay in the career you are. They have very flexible like law school programs where it's like nights, and now they even offer nights and weekend classes. So
and
it's-
online programs.
Yeah, it's never too late.
Yeah, I'm still in that place where and that's where I'm praying and asking, God to kind of lead me in that, because there are several things that I'm interested in. I love what you do, Denesha, like being a career coach and working with kids and stuff. I think that is awesome. And that's something that I was like, I like doing that. And then I also
And then you had started a nonprofit doing that, right?
Yes, I did. Yes, I did start a nonprofit of Views, and we did work with kids who were transitioning out of high school and equipping them with the tools that they need, because a lot of times we don't learn life in school, and they don't have the tools that they need to succeed. So once they graduate high school, they just out there lost. And it's like college is not for everybody. We know that. Right. So do you want to go to college? You want to do a trade? You want to go straight into work? And so that was what Views was founded to do, is to equip the kids with students with life after high school. So, and that's something that I'm working on getting back to. We're working on getting that back.
Yay.
So
that's good. This has been good. We're flying by.
I know this was.
We may
barely
have,
made it through our questions.
I know we have time for probably like one more question, which I think you had the next question.
Kitty can go.
How can someone discern whether a new opportunity is truly God's will or just their own desire? I thought about this one because, of course, we preview the questions. Are you willing to surrender it?
Yeah.
I think that's the big one. I have been so attached to my dream of success.
Yeah.
And if anything that
we learned about them cuts.
Yeah.
That's
But anything that you are so attached to that you cannot give it up, I promise you it's an idol for you. And it's attached to something that directly goes against God's plan for you. So if you cannot surrender it, if being a CEO is something you can't surrender, that ain't God.
Was it maybe that's why I'm experiencing the reverse, because I was not only surrender. I'm like, Lord, if you give me an elevator, I'll bring it straight up to the throne. Like I was like, here is my offering. You please take it from me, Lord. Like maybe that's why, because I was really, I was beyond surrendering it. I was ready to throw it back at him. So that's good.
That's really good.
And then even at the height of it, because we hear about like these phenomenal things that people experience, like when they do get to those really elevated spaces, it's like God will tell you to walk away from something when it's doing so good that it's hard to walk away from. Yeah. But if you cannot surrender it,
it's an idol.
It's an idol. It's not God.
Yeah. And just going back to that, it's never too late to live out a dream you always had. For me, like I always wanted to teach. When I was a kid, I wanted to be a teacher. But then as I got older, I'm like, well, no, I think I want to do like higher education. That was my big goal. And so I'm gonna start that. It's not in the way that I originally thought. I'll be teaching college courses, but in a prison setting. And so that was a little alarming for me at first, but then I thought about it as ministry. And like how transformative I can be to the men that I will meet in that program, because they're all getting ready to parole and things like that. And it made me, as I was building my syllabus and stuff, I started getting so excited, because they were like, well, you can just do, a mixture of, tests and quizzes and homework. And I'm like, no, I want them to enjoy this class. So like, we're going to do a course project. I want them to build a business plan. I want to give them something tangible that they can actually take away. And when they do parole, it's like, well, my instructor helped me build a business plan. If I want to inspire it, I can. So, I'm not, and it's opening the door for me to get into higher education. Not how I envisioned, not on the timeline I thought, but nonetheless, it's happening. So
Right.
do it. It's never too late.
Never
Go to law school. Start the nonprofit. Whatever.
restart the nonprofit.
Yes, it's never too late.
You're right. It's never too late. It's never too late. And so that's where I'm at with it. Like you said, Keita, can I surrender it? If I can't surrender it, it's an idol. So that's got my brain over
That's a
here.
word.
Yeah.
That is a word right there.
You don't need to say
So,
anything behind it.
Yeah.
That's good.
Mic drop.
Yeah. Denesha, do you have anything that you would like to leave the people? Like, do you offer any type of like career consultations if people want to talk about like how to find a career, or if they're feeling stuck or they need guidance? Like, can you talk a little bit about that before we leave and how they can reach out to you?
Yeah, so I definitely recommend taking those first steps that you can do on your own. Like I said, those aptitude tests, those interest tests. Do the things that you know you need to do, and really spend some time in prayer. Honestly, that's the best advice I could ever give you. Spend some time in prayer and actually listen. And I'm preaching to myself as well. Listen to what God is telling you. And then after that, reach out to different career professionals that you trust, that you can receive from, because that's important. You can receive from anybody. And allow them to talk you through your individual situation to make the best decision for you and your family.
Yeah. That's good.
This was good.
I enjoyed it.
I did too. We're gonna have you back, Tanisha.
Yeah.
I'll come back. I had a good time.
Yeah, this is
We
good.
always have
I
good
told her she
conversations.
was
though.
gonna have. I told her
That's
she was
true.
gonna like.
We didn't
like it.
We didn't tell the people, but they probably looking at y'all and can see it. They're
Oh yeah, they're sisters.
Yeah, you can see it.
Yes, you can.
Absolutely.
I don't think so either.
I don't
but
think we look
Yeah.
alike, but okay.
Yeah.
I got you.
I guess we have been looking at each other all our lives.
And Denisha
so.
is part of our Woman Evolve crew.
Yes.
So,
Yeah. They know all about Woman Evolve.
I'm
Woman
looking forward
Evolve
to
ATL this
Yes.
year.
Yes. So this has been fun, y'all. And we will link some information, like she said, the aptitude test, her email if you like to reach out to her. And of course, if you have any questions about career and things like that, you can send them to us and we'll get them to her as well. And just, let this inspire you that if you read, it's time for you to switch it up, or you have a dream or a goal that you want to go after, it's never too late. Just make the first step. And so we are here to support you, and we got your back. So
We got you.
Yeah.
until next time, I'm Breonna.
I'm Meketia.
I'm Tanisha.
And this is the Whole Journey Podcast.